we got our, this is our supply duct, right? So this is our HEPA filters on there, and ahead of those are the distribution wands for the steam generating humidifier.
Ahead of those are the distribution.
Yeah, so if you come over here, you see the distribution wands, see those tubes with the holes in it?
Okay.
See a little gap there?
I see it.
Yeah. You guys want to step over here and
Tubes
see it?
with the holes?
Yep, tube with the holes, right? That's where the humidity comes out of there, the steam comes out of those holes and those tubes. Okay? So what happens is the steam comes down the header, comes over to here. You got an end of line drain over here. So whatever steam is not used up in the distribution wands, it goes in that trap and it gets drained out.
What's the steam pressure?
It's zero. Basically, it's just
Just
gonna
kinda
just
trickling out.
goes
Natural
right
drag.
along and it travels along, right?
It's a natural
That's
drag.
why that header is so big, right?
Got it.
So it can just
I
travel
was
right
wondering
along.
because there was no trap.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it's not a. There's not like a 1 or 2 psi. It's everything's wide open, so it's just gonna generate the steam and just travel along. Yep. And then we've got an auxiliary drain. So if once it condenses, then we got a drain on the end there, right to the left, and that comes down and drains off as well. Okay. Generator for steam is over here. Right here, that silver bath. Okay. That again requires maintenance. I would check it at least the first year and make sure that there's not a ton of scale and debris inside there. If you guys keep up with it, they normally aren't too bad of a deal. But it's the guys that leave them for 10 years and
we have a couple of those.
yes, and they never
Clean
scale them
Clean
and
that one, man. It was
yeah.
like crusty.
Just flushing them is the maintenance, right?
they've got a and they have flush on them. They have actually a flush on here. So what will happen is when they after so many cycles they'll flush themselves out. But what happens is it only does it on one end, right? So the scale on the other end as well, right? So you take and you want to at least pop them open, see what it looks like, right? After the first year, if it's fine, maybe that's something you put on your schedule every 2 years. That's why it depends on water quality. It depends on how much you're using it, right? So I can't give you that number. I can just tell you at least look at it, right? See what's going on. Controller for it is above here. Basically, there's just some idiot codes on there. It says service life. It's basically the bulb. If you have a bulb, but we don't have a bulb, we got a generator. An error would be something with say over amperage, not draining. It would be on there. Power, and then a lot of this again, from what they're doing, I'm assuming off of this is they're doing off of BACnet. Okay. What you're concerned with is to your left there, you see those toggle switches? Those are your service switches. So you can override and flush and drain and fill while you're here to make sure that it's working with you, right? Right.
Drain is this
Yeah,
one?
right. So that way when you're here and you're saying, hey, I want to check this out, you can check the operation out right there. Right? You don't have to go into the computer or anything like that. We're gonna move over here to the supply side. We're gonna move back to the air handler. So when here, now we're moving backwards. Behind here is the blower wheel. It's a reverse curve blower wheel, and it's a direct drive motor. Okay, so on those, as far as maintenance, it's got some grease ports on the motor, a couple squirts, and that's it. That's nothing else. I recommend, again, get in there at least once a year, make sure the wheel's tight on there, make sure everything's spinning nice, you know. Again, everything's mechanical. We just got to make sure everything stays good, right?
There's
You
an
do all-
access door for it. There's a little
That is the access door, right? You got to take the bolts off, and it's right behind here. Yep. And then here, there's the control cabinet. Okay, everybody loved this last time. Yeah. Look at that. Oh, yeah.
It is kind of cool.
Yeah. You know, so we got light in here. Fuses for the supply fans, fuses for the controls, and then obviously these CTs over here, those are for the control contractor to tell building automation, hey, we're running, we're operational, right? So that's there. Also, it'll be wired into we got a low temperature alarm, right? So if the steam coil, or I'm sorry, the hot water coil fails, outside air damper sticks, whatever, and the temperature gets below our setting, which would probably be, 30 to 40 degrees in that ballpark, it'll trip that out. That's a manual reset right here, right? I'm sure you've got those on all your other
Close
air
the
handlers.
dampers, open up the heat valve.
Right, exactly. That's how they're supposed to be taken care of. Then we got a temperature discharge sensor here. That's for the control contractor. You'll see one up over there, and then you'll see over when we come over this way a little bit. Here. This. Okay. UV lights. Okay. There is a safety switch on there, so when you open this up,
It shuts off.
it shuts off.
Like a door switch.
Right, yeah, that's what this is for right here, okay? UV bulb, again, you'll have to see what you need, how often you need to change it. Normally they get a 3-year cycle on them. Again, depending on how much they're running, how much air, how power is, a number of factors on it.
Right.
Power supply is right here for it. This switch up here, this round little switch, that's our air proving switch. Okay, that tells the equipment we're okay to run, everything's okay. Okay, and that's pretty much about it in here. One thing I gotta say is with the bulbs, be careful, because we just had a guy. You know, I've been around these for years, and I never really thought about it too much. We had a guy, and a contractor left it out too far, and the bulb popped right in his face.
Ooh.
And it ended up with, you know, burns in his eyes, and the other guy ended up with the skin, the Xeon inside there ends up on their skin,
Oh,
the
geez.
powder, and it
It's like
just,
acid.
they were flaking away. Oh yeah, it was not a good thing. Yeah. So be careful. I know it looks simple, but definitely be careful. And obviously don't stare at it.
Yeah. Yeah, Joel had tans, man. We were
Yeah, I was gonna say you get
Yeah.
tans and you get the worst burn in your eyes you'll ever have. Trust me.
Yep.
Yeah, it feels like you got sand. So Eptron Air Station, I believe they're, from what they were telling me, they're monitoring supply air, return air, exhaust air off of here. So that's the sensor, and then the sensors are over here. I'll show them.
FPM stand for?
Feet per minute.
Okay.
Okay. Feet per minute feet per minute is how you calculate CFM,
Okay.
right? So they might have it on feet per minute. They might have it on CFM. It just depends on how they got it set up in there. Okay. We'll move this open. We'll move to the next one here, next compartment. We got our filters and coils. Yeah. And these coils are coated. These got a microbiological coating on them.
Nice.
And they've got
Looks
the
like
corrosion, so if you get corrosive, it won't eat it away, right? The other thing too, this is the mixed air temperature sensor. That's for the building automation system, so that feeds back to Johnson in here. Obviously filters, and again, they just put the 2-inch pleats in there. It can accommodate 4-inch though if you guys choose to change them later. Again, I'm sure you guys got these all over the place. Filter maintenance back here is critical, so that way you don't destroy your HEPA filters up front, right? Okay.
Tiny,
Yeah.
you know?
You got
It's
it?
like,
All right.
not
Yeah,
long. It's not long. It's
Yep,
like,
so we move into the next one,
Yeah, we don't do it.
and this is an extension of that one, right? So we've got damper banks in here. So this is obviously our return. This is our exhaust, and that's our center return, right? This is our fresh air intake damper bank here. Okay, like I was telling the guys before, you got, this is direct right here, and this is blowing right on the mixed air temperature sensor. So you might get a in the winter when it's really cold,
yeah.
you might get that weird reading where you're like, hey, that thing's stuck open, because literally when this thing cracks, and let's say it comes from unoccupied or not going into occupied, it's going to be like, wow, really cold really quick.
So
Just so you know.
it could go off like,
I doubt it's going to go off on a freeze stat, but when you're looking at, say if you're sitting in front of the building automation,
yeah.
it's going to be now,
Yeah, I got you,
right?
I
It's
got
not
you,
going to be,
I got you.
because normally you have a delay because the
Yeah,
outside
yeah.
air would be a little bit further down. It's right here, okay? And then we got our return here, right?
Yeah.
So, say the building gets positive, say we're going into economizer mode. This brings in the fresh air intake. This will start to close. This one will open. And then down the line, we'll go through that in a minute. There's an inline exhaust fan. a barrel
That's what I
fan.
was gonna ask you where that was.
Yeah, and that's down the line a little bit. Okay, and then you have on here, on these exhaust, on these actuators, there's a manual pot. So they'll be set at 0. Say if you're in here for maintenance, you want to check them out, you take this and you turn it all the way up, that'll actuate this. So you can test them out, okay? If you're replacing it and you get a new one and you're like, hey, wait a minute, there's no switches on here, it's going the wrong way, whatever. There is, underneath this rubber flap, everybody always misses that, the YL switch, which determines direction, and then also voltage. So I think you're on 0 to 10. It can either do 0 to 10 or 2 to 10. So it'll be set up. So basically, when you set these up, what I'm saying is open this up and make sure that you're the same, right? If you have to replace it. Okay? Questions on that? You look confused, like I'm.
No,
Okay, all right.
he always looks like that.
Real quick, real quick. That last little section that you just showed, I didn't get a chance to see.
No, that's fine. That's all good. Anybody else want to come back here and I can go through it?
You guys want to see?
You guys want to see this back here?
You guys want to see?
All right. So the pot, manual pot on here. So this will be at 0. So if you're in here, you want to test it, just turn this, and that'll manually run this.
It looks like that
Right,
box.
and then underneath here, you got a YO switch. That's directional,
Oh, I see it up
right?
top.
So like,
Up there, right?
if you have to change this out, you can change the YO, and then you also change the voltage here too as well, if you need to.
It's gotta
But
be right there.
it should be set up. Everybody misses these, and they're like, "Hey, I can't fix this, and I can't do this." Right? You know, they always. But the pot is definitely something you want to, because I always get.
Now, where's this sensor? You said it's gonna read fast?
That's a mixed air sensor.
Mixed air, got
It's,
it.
it's right here. That's building automation.
Is this a chiller side then?
So you'll see it on.
We got ESU
You'll
two
see it on the
here, right?
right?
Oh,
Right here. Yep.
I know this is on the if we need to, hopefully we
Man,
don't.
that frickin' heating coil.
I thought it was just
It is. Yes. Yes. Yep. Yeah. With that dual coil, you got it chilled and it's combo coil. Yep.
What is this?
Yeah,
now,
so when it
rated
closes,
for?
instead of it deadening the pump it'll bypass it.
I don't know.
No.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't.
You just doing the training?
Yeah.
Are you doing the chill water training too?
I will be. Yes. So we're gonna go up there next.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So let's move on down the line here.
Get out of here.
I got mine.
You guys can go back there since I did last time.
Yeah, you see this,
So I'll walk you through the entire boiler room with all the piping and stuff here. So obviously we got a chemical fill pot down here. This is the blue pot right here. Up above here, we've got that silver canister hanging down. That's a cartridge filter. So with those, what that is meant for is debris in the lines and stuff like that. I recommend on those, obviously, for the first startup, you're gonna probably want to change it. At least look at it, and probably change it in 6 months, right? Because the new system, right, getting all the garbage out of there. Then after that, once a year, right, you can change it out, and then you guys can determine what you're gonna need to do from there. Because once it's cleaned up, as long as you're not adding new water to it, you don't really need to filter it, right? Because it's just there, right? So you might be able to change that cartridge every couple of years, right? Up above that, see that blue fan up there, right above your head?
Yep.
There's an access panel to the left there.
Yep.
That's your access to get inside. Those are direct drive motors.
oh, is it? Okay, cool.
Yeah, so
No bells.
again, once a year, open that access panel up, make sure the blades are all intact, make sure everything's okay, make sure it's not, wobbling off there.
Not a lot of room.
There's not a lot of room, yes. You go ahead and put the plate back on, then put it back into service. It's driven by one of the Yaskawa VFDs back there. Behind you, you've got the Grundfos pumps right here. These black 2 pumps. Those have got a magnetic seal inside of them, and they are direct coupled. The nice thing about the magnetic seal is if they do start to weep, don't freak out and think that they're, we gotta get a seal kit, we gotta do all this stuff. You can actually take them apart. They break apart. You can take them apart, pull the mechanical seal out. A lot of times you can just take your finger, wipe it around there, clean them, and put them back together. Because you'll find that there might be metal shavings in there, there might be some iron in there, and that gets in there, makes it seal leak. And then once you clean it up, you can put it back together. It's sort of nice, you know, because we were always taught, don't touch the rubber seal, don't touch the ceramic's gonna destroy everything, you know, like, you know, the oil from your hands, it's a little different with these pumps. On the top there's 2 grease ports on each motor. They take the red caps off. 1 to 2 pumps. Don't be the over-greaser guy.
Two
Okay?
pumps on.
You over-grease them, they're gonna blow out motors, and that's gonna be a bad thing. Only 1 or 2 pumps at the most, right? You do not need much more than that. Okay? And again, once a year. You do not need to do more than that. Okay? At the far end there, where the guy in the green is at, if you look down, there's an expansion tank. It's a Grundfos expansion tank. On that, there is a indicator that tells you, and also a gauge, tells you what the pressure is, and it also tells you if there's moisture in it. So like, you know, if you have diaphragms that go bad, they fill with water, there's an indicator on there that says, hey, I'm full of water, you might you gotta do something with me.
It say bladder monitor?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a nice little feature on there. And then on those, I suggest once a year, shutting the valve off, bleeding the pressure off, checking the pressure, right? Making sure everything's all good.
What should the pressure be, like 12 PSI?
Hey, whatever you're running at. So stagnant, it should be 12 psi. If you're running at 12, if you're running at 25, it would be 25, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but it would be stagnant,
Right.
not with pressure on it. Because if it's got pressure on it, it might be a little more. All right.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And then we got the above that, we've got a Rollotrol. You see the valve on the bottom there. So what I'd say on those is once a year, you can take and blow that off into a bucket or into a hose, however you want to do it. But don't go hog wild because everybody needs a shower.
What's a
So
what?
this man's shower.
What did you call this again,
That's
sir?
a Rollotrol.
Rollotrol.
Right. So basically, all that's inside of there, that's your air elimination device. So it's got a helical or
So it's a
a,
big
a
air separator?
giant brush inside there, and all it does is it breaks up the air and the water. And then on the top, there's an air vent.
So it's a huge air separator.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh, there go the air vent right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what you do is, the reason why I say blow off the bottom there, is you get to test a couple of things. For
Right.
one, you're going to probably get some spurting out of your air vent. You make sure the air vent works. Number
Right.
2, you also need to make sure that your fill valve works, right? Because as soon as you blow off some water, your fill valve's going to work, right? It's going to fill up. So
Right.
if those 2 things don't happen, you might want to look at them and say, hey, I got to look at these. And either way, I normally check the fill valve once a year too to make sure the screens are clean and all that, right?
Right.
I know you guys do that all the time. Nobody does. I know. Shh, yeah.
He said,
That's
we do that
back
all
there on the
time.
back walls.
Screens and
Yaskawa
shit.
VFDs.
Yeah.
Those are running your pumps and the exhaust fans. Probably your blower here. Actually, there's a 3 back there. There's 4. There's 4. Yeah. So that's all of them. The most common thing you might see on there is a BB. It might be a base block, they call it. It'll flash up and it'll say
It's
BB
exhaust.
on there. BB is normally that there's an interlock issue. Okay. If it says overvolt, something like that, you might want to check it and look at your motors and stuff. A BB is normally that there's something tripped out, safety somewhere. And then you can reset them. If you got a bad power, you might see them. They're tripped out, and you have to reset them.
Would this be the supply VFD?
I don't know. I hate to say it, I didn't do the job, so
Okay.
I just know what they're supposed to do. I
Yeah.
don't know which one's which.
Oh, y'all good.
Yeah,
Because it say
sorry.
EF2 and then
Yeah, I think it's
EF1.
this way.
Yeah,
Is it switch?
Yeah, 'cause
Oh.
look at this one's set up for 60 hertz. This is 12, so that's gotta be a bigger.
Right. Then, yeah.
204, then copy.
so we got the VFDs in the back there.
Okay.
And then we've got up above on here, we've got an air to steam,
You have,
steam to hot water
41, water needs to be empty.
generator, right? So that we converter, steam to hot water converter. Jeez. So that way we got hot water in here and says steam.
Okay. Oh, say that again?
All right.
Nice.
What a converter is? Are these heating lines gonna be glycol or is it just pure water?
You have a portable unit.
I do not have an answer to that.
41 needs to be empty.
Yes, I do not have an anscer. I can't
Sir,
answer. Sorry. It could be either or. Now normally if I haven't seen the chiller yet. I'm
There's a
betting it's
bundle right
probably
there.
on the roof, so if it's on the roof, normally it's gonna be.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm talking about the heating lines.
Yep, right here, here's your bundle.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. That would be an engineering question for them, yes, yeah. I mean, that's your, on your engineering team. Right. We don't know about the hot water line, and that's a viable question, right? So you can ask your engineering team, cause that's who would inspect that. They would have control of that.
There's another fan over here.
Okay,
We're good.
questions?
Pretty straightforward.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
Oh, yeah, actually, I do have one.
Yes, sir.
For those units, let's say the VFD takes a shit.
Yes.
There's no bypass on it, you just run it at 100%.
But there is not a bypass on those. No.
Alright. That's a good
There
thing.
is a, let's say, so let me clarify that question for you. There is a manual, so you can put it in hand, but if the VFD itself takes a whole crap,
Yeah.
then you're,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay.
So basically what you'd have to do then is,
Replace it.
or bypass the VFD, right?
straight power.
Yeah.
100%.
Hey, no,
There's-
where the inverters at?
Merchant right there.
They're right down, yeah,
Inverters right there.
there's the four on the back door there. Questions? If you got more questions, I'm here to answer them.
No, them basically the VFDs. I thought it was a new part that was added to the air handlers as far as inverters.
As far as inverters, you mean,
Sneak behind you for a second.
yeah, I'm sorry, as far as new,
Them are basically the VFDs. Right?
yes, right,
Right here, that's what I thought. EF2's ready. Oh, sorry.
yeah, the exhaust.
Yeah,
For the room next door.
Oh, got it, yeah, it's yes, it's over here, yes, yeah.
Oh, it's over there.
Grafton.
It's
Yeah,
right up
it's
here.
up there?
Yeah, it's still here. The old
Okay,
one.
yeah, that's the
For
one
the
we're
room
in.
next door.
So that's EF2.
This exhaust.
Yep.
And that exhaust.
So
That's, yeah, I drive for that one. So that one that
Yeah,
says
my
ER1
understanding
for
of
this one.
inverters.
Okay, I got it.
I thought it was something else.
It's driving everywhere.
They were saying
Yep.
that these are the new
Everything's
components
supposed
on
to
the
be driving
new air
instead of
handlers
just
that
on or
we'll
off
be dealing
like
with.
before.
We'll be familiar with inverters.
What's the drive for this?
The only thing I think he's talking about is that this is hot water.
I thought it was gonna
and
have hot.
You're normally on
That's
steam
what
on
it
the
is,
rest
right?
of your
It's
building.
gonna-
That's maybe what he's talking about,
controls.
they
Oh,
converts,
yeah, maybe
it
that's.
takes the steam and converts it to hot water.
No, we got.
You got those in,
Yeah, we got
yeah,
those
okay,
in the-
right, yeah,
Who
Where's
knows?
the drive for
We-
this unit?
I know this is the first day of training, so
yeah.
it's probably more to discover.
Where's the drive for this
It's
unit?
more
Right
drive
back
over
here.
here though, look.
Yeah, they're all four of them are back there.
All four of them.
Yeah.
Oh, so what is EF2 on the same drive as?
No, EF2 is not connected to that.
Oh, cause I got the label EF2 ER1, which is that fan.
So there's an
Anything-
exhaust fan there,
Okay.
ER1,
yeah. Maybe they are, I don't know.
so it doesn't,
You know what I'm saying? But one setup, that ER1 set up for 60 hertz. So that's telling me it's probably this guy.
no, it's gotta be that, ER1.
You think?
The
Oh,
blue
yeah,
one.
yeah, that's right, it's a
Yeah,
return,
that's what I was
yeah.
trying to tell you.
Yeah.
But EF1, EF2 only got 12 hertz.
That's for that fan out here.
For this fan. They might program it later as that, they're gonna have to test and balance, then they can program it for CFM flow.
So then these two drives over here is these two exhaust fans. The quad drives. you
Those are
talking
for
about?
those.
Oh, these over here.
Sorry, we're just trying to figure out where all the equipment.
Ah, got it, okay.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate you.
Any more questions? Okay,
Thank you, though.
yeah, no problem.
Too hot.